Welcome back to the Bikes and Blades channel. Today I want to show you a piece of gear that I bought recently to help improve my YouTube video and audio quality. I've been slowly upgrading things a little bit at a time, even though this channel is very small and it's just a hobby for me. I like picking up gear that makes this easier and more fun, and something I got recently is this Canon HG100-TBR mini tripod and hand grip. It was a bit of a debate for me to purchase this because it's not cheap. It's like $130, and I thought, well, that's a lot of money for a little mini tripod and a hand grip. And if you stick around to the end, I'll also tell you a couple of things that I don't like about it. But most of this video is going to be about why I think this is a good deal. Okay, first of all, you can see I've got the box here, but I've already opened this and I'm already using it, and I'm not going to do an unboxing. If you want to see an unboxing, there's a really good one, and I'm going to put the link for it up here in the cards, and you can go check that out. But I'm just going to be going over what I like about this thing. So first of all, the main reason that I think this thing is worth the money that they're asking for it is that it's not just a mini tripod. You actually also get the Canon BRE1 Bluetooth remote. And that's really nice to be able to get that with this combo because it lets you run your camera remotely from the hand grip. If you're holding it in the hand grip, it works well. It also means that in the case that I'm doing right now, I have my camera on a tripod and I'm running it remotely, so I can actually start and stop the video with the little record button on that remote. And the remote itself is really cool. It pops out of the handle here, and you can see it's got a little finger ring so you can hold on to it easy. And it's got a shutter button at the top there. It also has an autofocus button, which is, I think, a really neat feature because right now my servo autofocus is turned off and it's focused on my face. But if I bring up something close, I can refocus on that, and then when I'm done I can refocus on my face, all without having to turn on autofocus, so I don't have any kind of focus moving in and out. The other nice thing about this remote, if you have a power zoom telephoto lens, it has buttons for telephoto and wide angle. I don't have a power zoom, so it doesn't work for me. It has a mode selector switch, so you can select between stills, 2-second timer, and movie mode. And then finally, kind of the nicest thing about this is that it's Bluetooth, so there's no infrared, which means that like I can block this thing with my hand and I'll stop the recording. And then I can restart it, and that goes right through my hand. It doesn't matter, where this remote's at. It doesn't have to have line of sight to the camera, so that's kind of cool. And setting up this remote, again, is something that is pretty easy, but I'm not going to cover it in this video. If you want to see that, you can check out the video that I linked to earlier, because the guy who did the unboxing also does a little setup video for the remote. Okay, so that's really cool that you get this remote. This is $40 by itself, so that's a big chunk of the price right there. All right, so if you stick around to the end of the video, I'm going to tell you the things I don't like about this little hand grip and tripod combo, but for now I'm going to tell you what I do like about it. First of all, I'll tell you that it's got button press release for the top here, so you can tilt it, and it goes in 15-degree increments, and it goes all the way from basically like a -90 to a +45, okay? And it locks in each of those positions with the press of a button, so that's kind of nice. The means of attaching the camera is this nice little thumb wheel. Turns really nicely, so it's not at all difficult to put it on the camera. It's really nice. If you want to rotate the head, there's a little button on the back side here. You press that, and then the head rotates and locks in at 90-degree increments. So that's kind of cool for turning the camera sideways or whatever. The grip itself is really nice because it's got a finger groove that lets you kind of index and hold on to the thing. And the back side of this is rubberized, so it's got a good grip. You can actually hold on to it pretty nicely, and it doesn't, it's not slippery. It feels good. You can turn this thing and turn it 90 degrees and do some B-roll footage. Turn it this way. It depends on what you want to do, right? As a tripod, this thing is kind of cool because you can flip these little legs out, turn the head to the 45-degree position, and now it sits on your desktop or wherever and becomes a little mini tripod. Now, remember I mentioned earlier that the grips are rubberized. The way this is designed, those grips actually become legs and they touch the surface you're putting it on, so they give it a nice kind of a grippy, non-slip feeling. And they've got a little rubber insert down here on the third leg too, so that doesn't slide either. The whole thing is held together with screws, so it's like a snap together or glued together thing. It's actually screwed together. It has a nice solid feel. One thing I think is really clever about the way they engineered this is they've got these tabs on the legs, which go into a slot on the back side of the hand grip. So when you close it up and you're holding onto this thing, it doesn't squeeze side to side, it doesn't feel squirrely, it's actually kind of locked in there, so you can't distort it or squeeze it and make it do funny things. So I think that's really clever. Another thing that's kind of cool is that when you put the remote into the grip, it actually has a little rubber socket at the top that the top of the remote slides into, and then it snaps in at the bottom, and there's actually a little plunger with a spring. It's not a piece of plastic, it's not a rubber catch. It's actually a little plunger with a pivot and a spring. So it's going to last forever, and it really does a nice job of holding the remote in there. They even put an embossed legend in here so you know which way the remote goes in case you can't figure it out. And they also embossed in this little cutout on the side here that gives you access to the mode switch. The modes are shown there too. So if you've got the remote in the handle, you can see the mode switch settings without having to look at the side of the thing. So really nicely designed. I mean, that's the thing about this, is that they could have knocked this out and done a cheap job on it, but it's clear that the engineers at Canon put some time and effort into making this into kind of a cool accessory. And that to me right there just kind of makes it worth the purchase price, because you're getting something that's not just it's not just slapped out, it's really kind of a nice piece of equipment. And you also get a piece that slides into the side of the hand grip to put your mic. So in this case I have my Rode Video Mic Go, and you can see how that fits into the little fake cold shoe on the side here. And in addition to just this simple mounting method like this, Canon also includes a little extension piece that slides in next to the cold shoe and gives you the ability to mount the mic sideways. And you can flip this around, and it has kind of a cold shoe on both sides. And one thing that I saw that I didn't see mentioned in other reviews of this little mini tripod is that there is a attachment on the bottom of this thing that actually lets you extend this even further out to the side. So if you had a wide camera, you could put your mic even further out to the side. So that's kind of a cool little feature there. And once it's snapped in here, it's in there pretty good. It's not hard to put in or remove, but it's not going to fall out, so that's nice. So that just gives you the ability to use the mic, not have it on top of the camera as this extra tall thing. You can actually put it off to the side. So as far as size, overall, if you fold the head down to like the most compact position here, it is pretty much exactly 7 inches end to end. And it fits nicely into, like, I have a Think Tank Urban Access sling bag. It's the Urban Access 8, and this will drop into one of the pockets and fit kind of crosswise in the bag. And so it's a nice compact size, easy to carry with you. If it was smaller, it'd fit more places, but it'd also be less substantial and maybe a little less secure. So I think it's a good size. It's something you can carry with you in your camera bag without too much trouble. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, there's a couple of things that aren't perfect about this little mini tripod hand grip remote combo. Okay, so one minor gripe that I have is the lanyard. They have a lanyard, which is great because you wouldn't want to drop your camera if you're vlogging, whatever, but it could use a cinch. So right now you put it on your wrist, and if you drop this thing, it could, especially the camera on it, it could fly right off your wrist because there's nothing to really retain it on there, right? So what I'd like to see is something more like the lanyard that came with this Nightcore LR12 flashlight, where you put your hand through, and then there's a slider that actually cinches it up, and there's just no way to drop it, right? It's positively secured on your wrist. So I think that would have been a good thing for the combination of the hand grip and a camera, all that weight, on this thing. It'd be nice to have a little bit of security. I thought maybe you could flip this thing around and do a lasso with it, but then it's too small. Unless you have really tiny wrists, there's just no way, or really tiny hands, there's just no way you can get through there. So the lanyard's good, but it's not a great lanyard. Another minor gripe, and it's very minor, is that it's kind of chunky. So for me, I have medium-sized man hands, not big hands by any means, and it feels pretty good to me. It feels secure. This feels like the right amount of grip for something that's got a camera on it. But if you were younger, if you're a preteen or teen vlogger or something, or a woman and you've got smaller hands, this is probably going to feel a little bit chunky, a little bit kind of fat in your hands. And along those lines, the ergonomics of this little finger groove, it's kind of square. It could be rounded. If it was rounded off, I think it would be a little bit more comfortable for people. And they could maintain the strength by, rounding the corners and keeping the material in the center instead of just making this flat cut. As it is, it's great because it allows you to index and feel where the camera's at and which way it's pointing. But it's not exactly the most ergonomic shape. It feels good, but it could be better, I think. And then finally, the last thing I'm going to say is a very minor gripe, is that this really is a mini tripod. When you've got this thing turned into a tripod, it is shorter than like a Manfrotto Pixi. It's very short. So you could put this on your desk, but the chances are it's going to be looking up at you, right? So it's not going to give you like a little bit of elevation. You probably need maybe a foot or so off your desk or tabletop if you're going to use this for streaming, that kind of thing. So if you were getting this just as a mini tripod, I'd say it's very short. Be aware of that, right? It's primarily a hand grip with the remote in it, but you can, it doubles as a tripod, but it's a very short tripod, right? Maybe gives you, I don't know, 6 or 7 inches height off your table. So I got mine from Precision Camera, which is a really cool shop here in Austin. And as you know, the era of shopping in brick and mortar stores is kind of drying up, but Precision Camera is sort of defying that. It's a really cool store. I'm not affiliated with them, but I've been there a couple of times and I'm really impressed. They have a lot of stuff on the shelves and good inventory and good people, and they know what they're talking about. And you can also go to their website, of course, and buy things online. So if you're in the Austin area, I'd say check them out. So I hope you enjoyed this little mini review of the Canon HG100-TBR mini tripod, hand grip, and remote combo. If this was helpful, please click that like button because it lets me know that you enjoy this content and I know what kind of content to make in the future. And if you enjoy my channel in general, please subscribe because I am hoping to grow this channel a little bit. And it really keeps me motivated and it makes it a lot of fun to keep doing this. So until next time, have fun, be safe, get out there and ride, and catch you in the next video.